Well, hello my crafty friends, and welcome to another video by yours truly. And obviously this is what I'm going to be showing you, and I'm going to start off with the background, do a little bit of stamping, and all the stamps I've used are from Lavinia stamps, and it's just something I wanted to do because I haven't done something like this for quite a while. But also what I wanted to do was something with the jelly plate, because I've got jelly plates and I hardly ever use them and I hardly ever get them out, and I thought, no, come on, let's do something with those. So this is what I came up with. It's the background turned out a lot better than what I thought it was going to do, so I was quite pleased with it, the way it turned out. If you do like my channel, please, and you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and then you will get a notification when I upload a new video. And also I will put the link to my Facebook page below, and if you belong to other groups, then please copy and paste my links onto other groups that you belong to. If you could do that, that'd be absolutely amazing. So okay, let's crack on and let's get this card done. All right, so first of all, we are going to need a piece of white 300-gram card, which I've cut at 4.5 by 4.5. Fairly straightforward. So that's our base card. That's what we're going to be doing everything on. I've got my jelly plate, and I'm just going to grab my non-stick mat, and I on this occasion I actually used oxides, because I wondered how they're going to work out with jelly plates. So I just kind of used two colors, which I will tell you: mowed lawn and rustic wilderness, which will probably come out a bit darker than what I would like. And then the other thing I used, which again I've not used for ages and ages and ages, and I thought, let's give these a go. So what I've done, and I'll show you exactly how I've done it. I've used brushos, which I've got here. I haven't listed them, but I will get them out. There they are. There's all my brushos, and I basically I'm just going to pick a random color here. This is white. No, that's not going to be very much good. White on white, and trust me. Let's try a little bit red. So I just give it a couple shakes. You can see the powder in there, and then basically some water, and which I did get out. I did have. Bear with me a minute. Yeah, so a bit of water, and I just you can see, yeah, good. So so that's the water added, and then I just got one of these now. I picked these up from takeaways. I usually grab a handful of these little stirrers, and I just gave that a little stir to agitate and use all the, and that's it really. And then I just got a brush, and I just, so because I've used greens, I'm going to stick with the greens, and I just put flick some onto the jelly plate. So I'm just going to use that again. And that's it. That's all I did. And I just left that. And I'm going to put this out of the way so I don't go knocking it or spilling it or anything really silly, because we don't want that. And then I'm just going to get my piece of card. I can put those out of the way because we're not going to be using them again. So they can go down there. And then a piece of card, as I mentioned, was 4.5 by 4.5, and it's just see. Now what I did, I just made sure everything was up. And every time you do this, you are going to get a different look all the time. So I'm just going to go in with a bit more of the colour, and because I don't want basically any white areas showing on my card. So so anywhere where I've got white, I'm just going to see to that. We could actually put a bit of water if we want. Just give it a quick spray. Cool, that's a bit better. Right, I'm going to leave it at that because I think that would be okay. And we just need to give our jelly plate a quick clean. And then we can dispense with the jelly plate. And that I can put to one side. And that is... Now, thing is here as well. Now, we need to just give this a quick dry. Because if I hold that up, you can see some of the ink is still wet. So, and we've just got lots of nice, interesting textures and patterns going on here. So, keep it as flat as you possibly can. And I think, cool, I can live with that. So we've got some really nice, interesting patterns going on here. So every time you do this, you are going to get a different look each time you do this, which is quite interesting because it's never ever going to be the same. Now the last one I used on these stamps, these are the Lavinia stamps, and these is called Coven of the Blue Moon. So that's the one I used on my sample. So I'm going to use the one, actually I'm going to use the one with the broomstick, with the walking stick, use the middle one. So I'm going to get my stamp, and we're going to need and get a block, which I have here. And then we're just going to mount our little witch onto black, onto card. So I'm just going to get my black ink pad, which I've got here. And this is a VersaFine, so those of you who've got the VersaClairs now, exactly the same, but with the VersaClairs you've got infinitely more colours. I've got a couple of them, but for me, because I've got these, I didn't see the necessity to actually fork out for another set of stamps. So I'm just going to stand up and press right down onto that and just let the ink soak into the card. And we've got a nice image, not all that dark. So what I'm going to do is put her back down very carefully if I can. Right, right, hopefully this will work. I'm going to get my stamping platform. Right, here we go. Hopefully this will work. Right. Right, so we go in with the black again. And I think this is because it's a new stamp and I haven't used it until now. So, hopefully this will work. Yes. So we can do that again because I've still got a bit. Cool, so it's just a little bit down here. So I'm just gonna do that because I want a really black. There we go. I can live with that. So that's cool. Right, okay. And then I'll put her to one side. And then we clean off our stamp. And get and then get a bit of kitchen towel. We can dry her off. And we can then put her back into her packet. So, and then we're just going to ground her, put her put that to one side. Cool. Right, let's bring in back our image, and I've just got a torn piece of copy paper to make my hills, and then just going to put in some ground for her so that she's actually I'm going to use the same colors as I've used before. So and just we've got a bit of hills going on and a bit of landscaping going on. So and we can add in the finer details later. We just want to, there we go. So we've got a bit of a hill going on there. So and I'm going to make that a little bit darker by going in with another colour. I'm just going to get myself another brush, and I'm going to use the Rustic Wilderness, which is a slightly darker green. Again, these are all oxides, so make sure you line up the just go along. There we go. And we can do a little bit down here. I'm just gonna go straight in with cool. Right, we can do a bit darker later, but at the moment we've got the foundations for our colours. And then actually I do want to try and make that a little bit darker, don't I? Really. So I'm going to go in with the right. I'm going to make this. I want to make this really dark, so I'm just going to. Yeah, that's a bit better. Cool. And then we can make this stand out a little bit more, I think. Cool. Yeah. Right, so let's do a little bit of stamping and get some. So that's where we are to at the moment. So let's do a little bit of stamping and get some these, because now we've got some of the hills in, we can actually place our stamps. So I'm going to take my mushrooms, which is this one. So yes, and again I'm going to use the black. I'm going to bring in my bit of paper that I've used, because I don't want the full I don't want the full length of the stamp. So even though I'm stamping the whole of it, I can judge basically where I want to go. So I'm going to put a stamp bit about there. Cool. So it looks like we've got the mushrooms growing out from the hill. So cool, like that. And then I'm just going to do the same for the other side. But don't worry about the so they're just peeking out over the hill, which is quite nice. So let's give our stamp a quick clean. As many of you know me by now, I'm meticulously careful to clean the stamps after every use, because especially as I've used black, and if I go and just think, oh right, I'll do a little bit of Versamark or Versafine or Versamark, I'll contaminate the stamp. So this is why I always get into the habit of actually cleaning my stamps. You only do it once, trust me. so yeah, so so we can put that back, and then we can get our another foliage stamp, and then we can do some coming down. There we go. So so get in with this one. Put that there, and then we get our black again. So this I'm going to use coming down from the top, so she's like in a groove. And I want a bit of scrap paper, because I'm going to be doing an awful lot of stamping off the card, so I want to do this a few times. And oh, nearly all the way across, so we can gradually build up our scene. And so gradually just do that all the way along. Bring that over a bit, that would help. Cool, so I'm going to give that a quick clean now. And I'm going to get the little one, just do a few of those along the top as well. Just to fill in the gaps a little bit. Cool, so there we go. That's what we've done so far, and it's, to me, is looking pretty good. So we can then clean this one off. Put that over there, put that there. And then we can put this back onto its sheet. And then we can start so I want to do a little bit around these corners. So what I used was the little corner stamps that here we go, just to bring something down into these two corners. So I used this little corner stamp, but I didn't use the whole of it, I just used partially, because I thought it didn't warrant it, so I just used a little portion, even though I'm going to stamp it all up. I'm just going to, I've got something sticky on there. Right, so I'm just going to, yeah. So we just got a bit of something going on in the corners. And then I'm just going to do the same for the other side. So sorry, I just knocked you like that. And I'm just going to leave it like that and then clean this off. So we're gradually getting our scene done. So let's get in the last of this black off, and then yeah, and then that can go back onto its corner, back into its cool. So right now we've got a little bit, just I want to that's what I use. I'm just going to, I just wanted to get some something going on down here, because there's an awful lot going on up there, but let's try and get a little bit going down here. So I used last time I used Spanish moss, but I didn't think that was dark enough, so I'm going to use a different color. So I'm going to go in with Olympia green, which is slightly darker, and it will, yes. So I'm just going to bring in where I'm just going to, I just want a bit of there we go. I just wanted a bit of something going on in the foreground here, so it doesn't look as though because if you go out to the wildlife, go out to forests and that, there's stuff going on all everywhere. So so yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That's okay. So we've got something going on down there, and we can sort a bit more of that out later. So now what I want to do is go around the edges and do something, go around the edges. So what we are going to do is get our distress inks out again and just go around the edges. And just pop those back in and put that, and get rid of all that. And so the reason I keep getting new brushes is because I keep forgetting what inks I'm using. So and I don't want to contaminate them. So I'm just going to grab myself some more. And I'm just going to go in with the lightest colour first. And I'm going to go right around the edge with this. And just, and this is going to take a while, but I will eventually end up doing going around with a black, but I want the green first, and just to give it a nice border. So that's all the stamping done. So we've got all that done. So we will bring that out later. So I'm just going to put that down with that, and I'm going to go in with this is Rustic Wilderness, and the first one I used was Mowed Lawn. So now the Rustic Wilderness, which is slightly darker colour, so we can go around with that. Cool. And then I'm going to go with, put that back on there. I'm going to go, right, I think we have done and finished with these. So these can be put to one side now because I think we have done those. I'm going to go in with, to start with, as you notice, I always start with the lightest colour first. Once you put a dark colour down and you don't like it, it's very difficult to get rid of it. So hence why I always go in with the lighter colours first. And I wanted a bit of grey in this as well. So hence why I'm going with the grey. This is Lost Shadow. No, it's Hickory Smoke. So this is Hickory Smoke. And again, if you've only got the normal distressed ink pads, again, you can use those. So we've got a bit of grey going on there, so we can do that. So I can get rid of that and that and that, and then Distress Oxide Black Soot. Here we go, the big boys. So again, be very careful with this. It's obviously a very dark colour. But I'm just going to go in around the edge and just frame our entire piece of work of art that we've just painstakingly created. But I'm leaving the center light because that will focus your eye and your attention into the middle of the picture. So cool. See how that is coming along? The difference it makes, and we've got all that light area. So cool. Right, so I'm going to leave it like that for the minute because I think that is quite enough for that. And I think we've done enough with these. And then we can put those there, and right, and then we can get a white gel pen, which I did have out. So I'm just going to go in with my gel pen and I'm going to just highlight like the bottom of the mushrooms, and then over here, and it just makes a total difference. And then we can go around the bottom and maybe the sides. And then put a little bit down. And then do some on these flowers. And it will just bring them all out and bring them to life. So and it's just a question of just being very patient and just going over and then we might now a lot of videos that I've seen, they do all sorts of splashes and heaven knows what else. I don't do that, but what I will do in a minute is add a little bit of mist, so again it will lend itself to a bit more atmosphere in our picture, and it will just create that bit more. I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't think I want to do any more. So do we want, yeah, just a little bit. So right, so I've got a nice, this is my pan pastels, and I used a just a brush and just picked up some, and I just try not to get any on her, so it just creates a bit of atmosphere, and you can put a little bit down. Cool, see? So see how that's turned out? Just by adding the pan pastel, it's just really added a little bit more atmosphere to our work of art. And to me, that is more or less done. What we do need to put in, what we like to put in, is just a tiny little bit of glitter. So I have got my Spectrum Noir Sparkle, and these are just glitter pens, and I'm not going to go overly over the top with it. I'm just going to we can add maybe a little bit down just below our fog, as it were, just to, and basically just up here where we've got all this stuff hanging down, give that a bit more definition, as it were, sparkle, because the white ink would have dried by now, so it's quite okay to do that. And just go over that, and there we go. I think you can put a little bit on the mushrooms if you want, just to bring them out a little bit more. So I mean, it's a bit late now, but if you wanted to, you could actually have coloured the mushrooms in. I've chosen not to. So again, what I am going to do is ground my witch a little bit more. So I'm just going to get a dark green pencil and just very lightly and you've seen me do this before a few times, just to and I think I don't want to do any more really, because I don't want to spoil it. So there, ladies and gentlemen, is how might just do just to give it a bit of shadow, and that's all I'm going to do, says I. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, because otherwise I'm just going to end up ruining it. And I've done that a few times before. So there is our piece of artwork, and we've just created a nice atmospheric picture with a few stamps, a few ink pads, and we've created a nice atmospheric picture. Right, so I'm just going to put that to one side. Actually, I'm just going to give that a wipe before I put it away, and we're just going to matte and layer this. So I'm going to do it onto black, because it will just really throw the colours out. And there we go. Right, so, and so double-sided tape, you can glue it if you so desire, but I would be careful with that, because you don't want too much glue, because the card will be say a little bit damp, I suppose, because of all the inks we've used, but I don't think it's that bad. But it has settled down, and with this heat that we've got in England at the moment, it is quite warm still. So cool, we've got that, so we can put that, and we've got our black card handy, and just get our knife. Cool. So again, if you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe, and to my channel, if you could do that, that would be absolutely wonderful. And also, if you could copy and paste to other groups that you belong to, my channel onto other groups, again, that would be absolutely marvelous. And I will say, I don't belong to any one particular company. I do this all off my own back, because I like sharing things, and I can probably hopefully put another spin on something that you might have seen, and you know, it might think, oh, I never thought of doing that, I never thought of doing that. And so yeah, so again, so if you could, that would be absolutely marvelous. So I've just got that stuck right down, and then I'm just going to get rid of that, and then get my magic ruler, and then we will trim this down. And then just, if the ruler doesn't grip, just lift the corner, and there we have a perfectly framed piece of artwork. And then I'm gonna get rid of those, and then that will fit quite happily onto a and that is a 6x6 blank white card blank. So there we go, and we've got a little bit of sparkle going on, and we've got like a little fairy glen with a witch on her way to a meeting or whatever, and we've done the background, and that's the first one I did. So I hope you liked that, and thank you very much for joining me, and see you on the next one. Cheers, bye for now.